you're
going,
calling.
yo,
How
I
you
can't get
doing?
him in. I can't get him in here.
How you doing, man?
Good, man. No complaints, man.
Good.
Chilling.
You
I
know what I got? I
huh?
got it right here.
Oh, you got it. It's a joint.
I finished it. So when you're ready, I got questions. But first of all, how you holding up during this time? You know, I see more and more hip hop people online. Everybody's out talking.
Yeah, they're doing something because after a while, it's already been like a month and what, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been in the house, so now it's like they got to do something.
You
So I
got to
told
you got to
them,
talk to people. You got to do something just to keep your mind going.
yeah, and get out there. And then now you see them using the online stuff a lot more. Some of was really good and got involved quick, like D Nice.
Yeah.
He was like right away. He really impacted. After that, every DJ was like,
Do you think a lot of DJs are just chasing D Nice? They'll let him own the space.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but because they all feel like they're good. They're all good, in different ways. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Like, and they like after that it was like they had lights going on in the back, all kind of theatrics happening to make it feel better. Like a bottle service, bring your bottle, maybe.
But there's really no comparison to being first. Like he was the first mover on that.
Yeah, yeah. And it was his natural instincts to do that.
Yeah.
Because nobody, following him doing that, and people was like, "What?" Like it was nothing else to do, so we went and chimed in just to
Yeah.
watch it, see what's going on. And so many people was doing it at the same time, and it was like when everybody's in a state of shock, the thing like, look, I put my phone down. I have to be conscious and put it down, or I'll be sitting there looking at Instagram all day. Like probably like 300-400 new people I done follow. I just look if the picture look good, I'm like follow, follow. I do not care who the person is, what their status is, nothing. Nice booty, follow. Nice breast, follow, follow.
You find what you're interested in on there and you go, well look, man, I got questions about the book. I'm also going to say shout out and hello to everyone because
Yeah.
I see 50. I'm going to tell you straight up, there are thousands more people watching this live than I ever normally have. They're coming from your place. So hello everyone. I'm Ari Melber. I work at MSNBC News and I am a day one 50 Cent fan from How to Rob, Power of the Dollar, the early,
The
middle,
real deal, the
late,
real
all of
deal,
it.
y'all.
I got the early copy of the book. I read it. And it's funny you mentioned Instagram 50 because that's one of the things I literally was going to ask you about in this book.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to read a little bit of the book. Is that all
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah,
and then
cool.
and then we're going to tell me about it. I thought it was a really interesting read. You write here talking about the heart of a hustler. You write, you might see a picture of my new car on IG with the hashtag work harder, play harder.
Mm-hmm.
The cars are real, but you write, the hashtag is fake. The truth is I work harder than I play.
Right.
What are you trying to educate people on there?
Nah, like I say, work hard, play hard. People look these days. These brands have been developed long before any success for me. Like what I'm saying, Ferrari, Lamborghini, all of this stuff and stuff. So you look and you say those symbols, like that for the audience, is completely aspirational. Those things symbolize success to them. Those are the symbols that they see ride past them. Successful people who can afford to spend $400,000-500,000 on a car clearly are in that space that they want to be in. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times the guy doesn't have that $500,000. He just put enough down to get it, and he's riding. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it appears to be at that point. And then when I say work hard, play harder, they think that it's an actual result of what I'm doing at the present moment, when it's not. And this has been the whole piece, the whole journey is created this momentum. Like, when you reach a certain financial point, if you don't spend it, the IRS is just going to come take it. So if you don't apply it to lifestyle, then it's just, okay, you made it, and they just came and took it. You feel like I feel like I need to know who Uncle Sam is because I have a solid partner. Damn, they were 39%. After a while, you start feeling like, where's my partner? Why don't he go take the meeting today and let me stay here?
They take more than an agent cut, you know?
Yeah. You look at your way.
So then you talk about the way you've innovated because you have so many different people who know you from different periods.
Right.
People like me who literally were like listening to you because we love music.
Early on,
Then
yeah.
people know your later music. Then they know Power. You got the new show on
New
ABC. You
stuff.
got all the different stuff. And you talk about evolving. So I'm gonna read a little bit and get from this book for everyone who's just joined us. I'm reading from 50's book, Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. This was really interesting because you do a thing that I thought only like diehard music fans do, where we start thinking, man, what if Biggie were here now? Like, I live in
I
Brooklyn.
always do that.
He's everywhere with the murals, and you think about it. So you write, Biggie was hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
His IG would have been one of the most popular pages in the entire world. And then you write, I believe Pac would have eventually returned to his revolutionary roots. He would have had an impact on Pac. See how I did that? He would have had an impact on society way beyond music. Tell me what you're getting at there.
Yeah, I think Tupac, I really think Tupac was an art student that took thugging as a thing. Because he was too advanced to be what you would get off the street. You see what I'm saying? Like the guy that just comes off the street, he's not going to have those things. Like he's not going to adapt to things. Not as smart as the things that he was already groomed for, already taught. Like when this guy wasn't writing music, he was writing poetry books. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like the only person I interacted with that I felt like was similar to him was Prodigy. You know what I mean? Like when Prodigy was on the Summer Dream screen and Jay was making fun of him and he had the dance, he was being made fun of for
Twinkle
being
Toes. I got the picture. I seen him.
Yeah, for being cultured.
Mm-hmm.
Because his mother owned the dance studio, he was already a part of the arts.
Yeah.
So we're making fun of it, but it just meant that he's been surrounded by art since the beginning. And now it feels different because it has this Queensbridge energy around it. And we go, yo, look, I laugh at you. And it really, like, people looked at it like it was something that would discredited him. When I'm looking going, he's still HNIC, like the head nigga in charge on those actual projects. There was points that we could argue one of the best MCs in the culture at that point. Like it was like he was putting together so well, and now like, okay, it's just other people. I don't think they look as far into it as I do. Like just because I try to create to be honest, Ari, like a firm understanding or my reasoning for why those things work. Because I think there's 4 qualities that make a star, right? And it's quality, material, performance, appearance, and personality. And if they lack in one of the areas, they got to pick up the slack in one of the others. They got to be that much better of a writer in the material if their presence is off. If they don't have a personality, then don't even put them in an interview. Let them just let the music speak for them. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not right. I did that with Chief Keef in the beginning. They thought Chief Keef was like slow. I was like, it's not slow. He just doesn't understand. He doesn't understand what's going on around him right now. This is exciting. There's too much going around. At the time, because he was a baby. Tonight I'm gonna release the song. His first song was "Shit I Don't Like." That's what made me see him and like like the artist. And then he signed the Interscope because I was signed to Interscope because me and Eminem was there. And then I wanted to work with him for that because I just liked him, his energy. And then it turned into we did I Hate Being Sober. It was me, Wiz Khalifa, and Chief Keef. But he never showed up to the video. Me and Wiz shot the video, and I'm gonna put the music video out tonight after we're done.
You're putting that out what time tonight?
Right when we get off of here.
Yeah. Where can people find that? That's cool.
Yeah, well, they'll find it. I'll put it on my Instagram. I send it. We should put it on your Instagram too. Since we're on here, I'll have them send it to you. We put it on your.
Okay, I'll talk to your people. That's amazing. Did you like the Kanye verse on Shit I Don't Like?
Yeah, it was cool. And then the Chicago thing, that's what it was. He was getting back to his roots. Kanye was. By doing that Chief Keef record. That was raw. That was like right out of the trenches. You know what I'm saying? The kid come out and he talking about fake true religion jeans. Shit I don't like. I don't notice if your religion jeans are fake. I don't know the difference in the fake, and I don't see enough fake ones. to know when those are not the real ones. You know,
Yeah,
so
that's
like,
it. Right. It's not a Fendi bag.
yeah, and big. He had Tupac. There was no punchlines. There was so much passion in the way he said things that it just cut through. It went
Yeah, it's
over.
funny you say that. Like, so, and by the way, I'm going to do a radio reset. Like, we're on the radio. I'm
Uh
going to
huh.
say welcome in to everybody. I see thousands of people in here. You got the man 50 Cent. You got the new
All
book,
right.
Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. We're talking music, and he just announced 50 Bacon News that you're releasing new material tonight.
Yeah.
Um, in the book, you are very honest, very clear about the fact that no matter how good something is, product, music,
Yeah.
clothing, you need to have a presentation and a story around it.
Right. Right. It presentation, like if you're saying, look, you can have the best, like me going to get. I go to France. I'm in the Champagne region. I'm through the Tattinger family. I make the relationship with Castanet. I get the highest quality. I said I want to do something that's premium. It's up here, like the best. And they got it. They just didn't figure out how to present it to. They've been making champagne for 100 years, producing champagne. So they're like, yeah, no, guys, we know exactly what you're saying. Like we'll get. And this is the thing that I'm saying when they do food and beverage contests, I win
Like
every
blind
time.
taste test.
Yeah, like the wine test, they're gonna look at what it is, and I'll win every time because of what it is before I left it. Like they think the commercial champagne that we're accustomed to is trash. Like it's like they look at it like it's commercial. It's nothing. Like that's not it. Let me show you with the real good stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then
Mm-hmm.
there's Ari, the really wealthy people, the wine sellers are not being filled by them actually going to the store. They're on the list from these actual venues that are sending them pieces out of these batches that give them things that you wouldn't necessarily find in the liquor store.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like
Oh, I gotta throw in Fitty. Rich the Kid, who we both know a little bit. Rich the Kid has got a question. I'm just gonna throw it in for you because 50 gets so many comments I can't even keep up with them. But Rich the Kid's asking you. He's saying 50. How long did it make? How long did it take to make Get Rich or Die Trying?
that you know what I did? I I really it took like really that album took as long as from 2002. It took a year almost
Mm.
to do it. And you know what I was doing is I was putting out the things that didn't matter as much to me. Like I would if I made something that felt really special, I would just put it on the side, like Mini Man and Mini Man almost didn't make that out. Like certain records that I did, I just put them
Really?
on. Yeah, I put
And
them on
that's
the
such
side.
a hard. That's a hard. I mean, you got several tracks there where people said, "Oh, you can do this." I mean, Drake said, "Oh, 21
Yeah.
Questions showed me, oh, you could sing
Now
the
look at
different
this.
way."
The funny, when Drake said that, I was like this. See, for Drake, I'm telling you, Drake right now, Dr. Dre would look and go because he was like, "Listen, I know what this is. It's NWA. It's just one member." And he was like, and when I played the 21 Questions record for him, he was like, I hear it. I hear it. It's hot, but I don't know why you want to do it. Because, like he said, you don't have to make a radio record to be a hit right now.
Because the energy in the art at the time was you could be quite perceived to be quite hardcore.
You could stay there.
You didn't have to. You could stay in that lane and still make a lot. You didn't have
If,
to do the
yeah,
crossover.
if I didn't make a look, he's saying that record had female intentions. That 21 Questions. It was speaking to a female, right? You don't even have to make a record like that. Like Dre was saying, you don't have to do that. Like my second album, I had no intentions of writing towards the women at all.
Mm.
So this is why I was like, Hate It or Love It, Church for Thugs, Special, Higher. Like it was How We Do. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? Like
now 50. That raises another question, which is, when gangsters hear your shit, can they hear your hunger?
I couldn't hear my hunger. I was going, yo. I mean, look, the thing, the coolest part about you is this: you have all of this information that we don't have. that we were not paying attention to.
Okay.
And paying attention to us at the same time.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
love you for this. I love you for this. Because
That's
when I
very
look,
good of you to say.
that's my favorite part of MSNBC. I watch, then I go, okay, it's my part. When you come.
Right on. So look, the other thing, you talk about innovating, right? We're talking to you right now. People see you, big successful star, but you came out of adversity, poverty. You write about the home you came out of with substance abuse, and now you live a clean life, and you pivoted. You did what you had to do. And so right now, obviously, we got people watching here. You know, we got unemployment surging. We got people with more problems today than they had 3 months ago, and a lot of people, obviously, in America and around the world, have problems to begin with. So talk to us a little bit about that. Again, I'm going to read a little bit from the book, which is part of why we jumped on here, because I love this stuff. I love learning more about how you think and how you got to where you are. And you talk about, even though you were successful within music, you said basically you saw macro trends changing that were going to cut into the profits. Same way we just had macro pandemic change people's career prospects. And you write, quote, and obviously you wrote this, I mean, everybody knows this, but you wrote this before the pandemic, but it's, I think people listening right now might think, okay, you write, instead of waiting for the inevitable axe to drop, I decided to beat Interscope to the punch. You set up a meeting with Jimmy Iovine, right? And you tell him, quote, you guys aren't in the music business anymore, really. I'll be better off independent. I'm going to go into movies and television. And Jimmy asks, oh, you want to do both? And you say, it would have been easy to feel, quote, resentful in the moment. Jimmy wasn't my boss, he was my partner, and we'd done well together. Now, I could have taken a moment to ask why, despite all that success, he hadn't always had my back. Why hadn't he done more to support me? But I was already focused on the future, a future that would find me becoming very involved successfully in film and TV. And you write that he pivoted as well. People know that with Dr. Dre. Oh, look, Joe Budden with 3 laughing emojis. Shout out to Joe Budden. And let's get Joe Budden Fitz in here as well, if we can. But 50, walk us through that. You were successful, Jimmy's successful, and yet you both are pivoting because you couldn't beat necessarily super macro trends that were going to drain music business of profit.
Yeah, like I already created with Vitamin Water, with RBK, like the sneakers, G-Unit clothing. Like we were averaging about 80 million a year in sales with G-Unit clothing. The sneaker business, we did. This was Paul Fineman's response to losing the bidding war for LeBron James. When LeBron gets 110, there's 80. The competitor that was bidding for it has 80 or 90 around. And then following that, Paul's response was to do lifestyle branding with G-Unit sneakers and Sean Carter and Daddy Yankee and some different things. And we did really well. Like we traveled everywhere. It felt like when the concert was coming, you see a spike in sales and things everywhere we went. And then when Jimmy went in the Beats, I looked at it like Russell Simmons going into urban clothing. Following Russell Simmons going to urban clothing, you saw Rockaway, Sean John, you saw Apple Bottom, Nelly with Apple Bottom, Willie Esco, Nas, everybody had something that was in urban clothing because he showed us that it could actually be a big business away from big merchandise being sold. Like it can be an actual brand. And then from there, it was cool. Like I didn't look at SMS Audio like it was making me a direct competitor to the company I'm still signed to. You know, like when I was in the office talking to Jimmy at that point, I had delivered a record with me, Eminem, and Adam Levine.
Okay.
At that point,
shout out Maroon 5.
At that point, Adam Levine hadn't had a record that wasn't charting number 1. Eminem hadn't had a record that wasn't charting number 1, and I didn't have issues at radio at that point. The song, like we got to the point. At that point, the radio department was telling me, you know, we're gonna have to. Like they didn't know what to do or what to say to me because they couldn't say anything that would make sense to me, knowing that I know.
Right.
You know, so when I sit and I talk with him, it was really interesting because he felt like that in some ways I think betrayed by me. He was angry with me. You know what I'm saying? I've done things I wasn't supposed to do the whole way. You know what I mean? Not to Jimmy or not to Dre or to Eminem in any way. You know what I'm saying? But when we came in, it was a lot of street energy around us. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of things going on. So it was like I had altercations with guys that you don't pick these guys. All right, the guys I had beef with, they got life in the penitentiary for cases, homicides connected to them, all kind of things connected to them, right? And I had problems with these guys. This is why my aura is tougher than my behavior because I've had issues with them. When people say they want a problem, I say no problem because I don't necessarily think I can resolve the issue. You know what I mean? Like not to communicate, which I didn't communicate with you to create these films. You know what I mean? So it was interesting because Jimmy, I used the same energy and behaviors that he offered me prior to this. Like because it was early on, he would talk to me and he'd say, "You think I care about this kid? I know who wrote it because he had me write the music for games out. Like I sat with him. He had me come out and he was like, "Yo, you played Games Records because they had been in the studio for recording studio with Dre for a year already. So it's already like $1.5 million in budgets over there from recording and being in recording and flying producers in and out, creating stuff, doing things, right?" And I listened to the record. I say, "Yo, he's a dope rapper. He's not a good songwriter yet."
You're talking about the game.
Yeah.
When you were putting on, well, and you're
And
very blunt in the book. You talk about certain artists, like you definitely address Lloyd Banks, Tony Yayo, some of the G Unit crew.
yeah,
You don't talk about the game much. People watching probably who follow you.
yeah. This is not even in the book. This is not in the book. I just want to explain to you why I said those things because when like after the fact, things blossom into who he is now, and it's cool to watch. Like as soon as we actually like he reached out and we talked and stuff like that, I was like, nah, I don't care. There's no ill will involved, right? But
Which
there's
you do in the game now.
Yeah, none.
Because at the time it was like there was obviously arguments and it was public. People remember, and then you also the theme is in the book too, where you in the book you demand that people achieve the level of maturity and judgment that you did fast and young.
Yeah.
But not everyone's capable of that. I mean, for one thing, Mark Hanton in there. Shout out to Mark Hanton. I know you work with him.
Super producer. He be producing everything.
But 50, like, the question then is for someone reading the book who's trying to figure out how to apply lessons. It's like the game was making at the time, as you put it, some of the mistakes were business mistakes, like picking fights with certain DJs that you guys needed to work with, and it was like, why do that? Or you talk about other artists here that just didn't appreciate how you put them on. So one question I have for you, for people watching here, is how do you apply that? How do you apply final maturity?
I think that's the way. Look, the way I was raised put that in me. Like I don't forget what you do for me. If a person do something for me, I'm like, yo, nah, that's like I kind of owe him. Regardlessly, I feel that way. Like this is why you never hear me have anything negative to say about him.
Eminem.
Or Dre, because the opportunity wasn't there without them being there. Like at that point, he was selling 22 million copies on Marshall Mathers LP. You know what people want to do when you're selling 22 million? Whatever you want to do. That's what the fuck they want to do. In the music business, you sell 22 million copies, and everybody wants to do what you want to do. Trust that. And that's how that came together that way. And you look, it went for me. Even Dre, I told Dre in the studio. I said, yo, Jimmy don't like me. He said, why you say that? I said, because he said it to me. He said it?
Jimmy Iovine said that to you?
Yeah, he did. He did. Now look,
he didn't like you, or he didn't like the risk factor of what might be around you?
He just didn't like he didn't. At that point, he didn't like me. He was feeling like I was a direct competitor and could be a problem for Beats. Because his new priority was Beats, and it was like, here's your here's the perfect example. I'll show you right now. Look.
Show and tell.
Here's your recording budget. Now look, here's your recording budget. Here's your recording budget if you put beats in it. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, you could, here, give me that piece and tell them, here, put this, and you get this if you put beats in it. This is why everyone had it. And then it shows you how anything that, look, cocaine, right? When it's cool enough for the bathroom and the hot party in Hollywood, anything that's cool enough for the celebrities is going to be cool enough for the masses. It's testing and proven. Cocaine was cooler there before it became acceptable and cool everywhere. And that's why it was a point where cocaine was marijuana. It was that cool. And then it was like, because it was an expensive drug, and a functional drug. It wasn't as addictive as it in its purest form as in crack. So people were functioning addicts and doing it. That was a whole different vibe. But it started, that product placement started in the bathroom at those hot parties in Hollywood. Richard Pryor, the top, that would be our Kevin Hart right now. The hottest person in comedy at that point. His set was about how high he was.
Right.
From, you know what I'm saying? Like everything was, it was all, like all the way around the circle there. Now, if you said, later I said, when I got the star on the Walk of Fame in Hollywood.
Yep.
When I got there, I wasn't excited about Ari. Like the award shows, I haven't got excited about awards.
You're not excited to get the star? That's a big deal. No matter, even like big A-listers come out for this star.
In the beginning, I'm going, nah, yeah, it's cool. You know, and then when the day of, when everybody's there,
yeah,
I'm like, oh shit, like everybody's there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody's here. So I'm like, damn, I got to call. Mary called me. Mary J. Blige, she called and congratulated me because she's actually in Power Book 2 on the second book of Power. So she was calling. She texted me. I'm like, yo, I don't know. Like I'm nervous. Like I'm never really nervous to go and do anything.
You felt nervous being up there that day.
That nervous energy, yeah. And I'm like, yo, I don't know why, because it was M, Dre, everybody was there. Then it was like, as soon as I got on, the first thing I said was I made a mistake, because the only person who wasn't there was Jimmy, and we still needed the money to make anything happen. And it was him. It was his company. It was the whole way. You know what I'm saying? And I identified with the mistake that I made at that point, and then I talked to him after, you know, because Steve Berman told him right away. You know, everybody that was from the company that was supported the project being a success was there, but Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care about, like, I looked at it like the person who doesn't, not Apple, whoever else is interested in you buys SMS after. The same way, like, the $80 million that Paul Feynman had laying around was right there for him to give us the big deal with the sneakers. Like I'm looking, from my assessment of it was not that I'm competing with you to be like against you. I'm just going into the category because it is an easy sell when everybody knows you from selling music. Isn't it organic for you to sell things connected to music?
Sure.
Like a headphone? If not, look, SMS is studio mastered sound. That wasn't rocket science for me to come up with that. That was easy. That was like oh yeah, that's studio master sound. Then when their interpretation, because of the aggression that they seen at points, was competitive. Like he's gonna compete with us and it's gonna be a problem. And that wasn't my intentions at all. If I knew that SMS would have made us not be a team, I would have never did that. I just wouldn't have went in the headphone category.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like M didn't even touch the headphones. So he made so much money off of the music that there was no reason to touch a headphone. Like he just sat there the whole time. Like
But did anyone know at the time how big that was going to get?
I know.
Yeah.
I met Steve Jobs in Jimmy Iovine's office. I got a chance to see my own eyes. He spent the weekend with him, Dr. Dre, and the whole weekend he sat there. The first time I sat there, I went in there 10 minutes before I told him, "Let me see that." They gave it to me. I said, "What's it called? It's called an iPod." How many songs you said this whole? You think you can sell an iPod? I can sell an iPod. Jimmy will tell you, in that 10 minutes that I sat there, I got him to give me $150,000. Right there. As soon as we sat in there, because the first time this Apple did product placement in anything, any music video, was PIMP. You see me get up with
Is
the
that true?
$150,000 again.
And that was the cameo.
That was what I did. When you saw
That's
me
so
with
interesting. I did that. I had never heard that.
the iPad, that was the first thing. Like
Did
it's
Steve
not
Jobs
like,
strike you? Did he strike you as more open-minded than other suits you dealt with?
yeah, look, he looked at it and was like, he looked at Jimmy. Jimmy said, "Believe it or not, the kid is golden. I don't care whatever he says right now, it's gonna go." And he just went with it. He just gave me $150,000.
That's wild. And Dre was making a full transition then.
Yeah, Dre never really had like it was Dre's a brand. He's the thing that was protected. Jimmy felt safe with Dre because Dre could actually, he was like the magic that we had. Always, but like I'm saying, I would go collect and build my whole record. You have to see how rich the kid said how long it take for me to make that record.
Mm-hmm.
It's just make new music, make music, make music. Don't make an album. Make music.
Right.
Just keep making music, keep making music, keep making music. And then you're gonna find something that you like better than the other stuff. Like you'll put that to the side. Put that to the side.
Well,
And then
first of all, Rich has his new songs apply to you as well because he talks about the money gets stuck together,
yeah.
and that could apply to 50. I'm gonna read you another quote here that's relevant to all of this because the other thing is about you. People know, even people who don't follow all your music, people know about 50 Cent, that you're gonna call it like you see it. You don't care about offending people.
No.
So you do that with some sacred cows here. I'm reading in the Evolve or Die section, and you write, and again, I say this like a radio reset, Ari Melber here with 50 Cent, reading the book. You say, when people say money hasn't changed them, I always think the same thing. That means they haven't made enough of it yet.
Yeah.
Trust me, when you're making real money, a lot of things change. And one of the most important things is the type of people you hang out with. And then you go through and you tell the story, and it's not some story about, what people might imagine of certain types of fancy people. You talk about basically people's minds. You talk about Robert Greene, who, of course, you co-authored the book with, 50th Law. You talk about Deepak Chopra. You talk about learning from, like, Bruce Willis, of all people, about silence. So what do you mean by the idea that success didn't allow you to just buy things, but it opened doors where you learned things?
Yeah, because, look, it'll tell you if you want to prosper, you want to go in a positive direction, you got to avoid angry and unhappy people, unhappy people, unsuccessful things, that people that just have negative energy around them, right? Because they'll bring that to you. They'll bring that energy to you, and you'll start to have things happen in your path for those purposes. Like, and what I mean is, when you get enough money, you start to build. You go, where you find comfort. You find your comfort in someone who doesn't have that. That you get afraid of people coming to you because they want your money. They want things from you. The people that have things don't ever have that energy around them in presentation. You won't feel it. That's like when the women will get angry from, like, the hood, like in the hood, they'll see a guy that they from the hood go with the girl, and she's the polar opposite of them. Might be middle America, might be a white woman, whatever it is. And the difference is they don't have that same, that I want something from the situation energy. And it might be because they were raised with it. If not that, Ari, then they just have, they would have the same needs, want the same things. They want stability. They want comfort in a different way, right? but a different approach at it, and you can't get that read. The thing that registers is negative. When you just got something that you know everyone around you wants, you start looking at people who might want that from you.
Right.
To avoid that. So the person that comes around that doesn't have that energy at all, it feels so safe. It feels like the most comfortable place. That's like when you're doing well, when you get around people I don't care what level you're on, there are people who have already surpassed that level and are in a different financial bracket and space. And what you've done was great. That was great for you to do that from where you come from and you be at that space. But it doesn't mean much over here because you're sitting around people who have accomplished a lot more. So whether it's in business or it's in the arts, it's music, wherever it is, it doesn't matter. It just means
Right.
that they just don't have a
Well,
reason to want
that's
anything
something
from
that
you.
that's something that a lot of competitive spaces have in common, because when I first worked for a U.S. senator,
Mm.
in my head I was like, that's major. I mean, they have power, they have a huge staff,
Right.
they have senators have these 6-year terms, so that's a big role, obviously. And then you get there and you look around, and I would say a significant portion of them, like
Right.
more than half,
Right.
are unless they're totally old and over it, they're sitting there going, how can I get into the cabinet or become president?
Mm-hmm.
And these are in the federal government system. These are the 100 most powerful legislators.
Okay.
And those top 100, that we got 300 million people, got top 100, and they're all thinking about getting up one more. And I was like, it sounds naive because I was a kid starting that job, but I saw that I was like, oh, so it's going to be like this. Like everyone's always going to
The
be
whole
like,
time.
yeah.
Yeah. Then I guess until it get to that point where they feel like I made it, I accomplished it. This is what I was after. And then they'll get there and be disappointed on some levels. Because you built up so much of what it's going to actually be when you get there. That's why I said when in the book I said there should be no number. There should be no amount. Ari, if you say you're a hustler, this means I hustle. This is what I do. I'm gonna make it happen. I make things happen.
I'm gonna shout out another comment. This guy Castro wrote in the comment, Ari Melber owes 50 money.
Yeah, but think about it. When you say in the environment that I come out of, when you say you're a hustler, it means you're gonna make it happen. You're gonna get out there and do whatever you gotta do to make it happen. And being that, like knowing that there'll be peaks and valleys, you're gonna have setbacks at points. It's a part of the game. You know what I'm saying? When that happens, you bounce back from the setback with no problem because you're just like, oh, nah, you think, and you make the move and get back in the position. There's no guys that haven't had to go through that training camp. They haven't had to come from not having the first low. They'll jump out of the building, man.
Right.
The market crashed. They jumped off the building. The market went back up after they hit the floor.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
They just couldn't take it mentally. How they felt at the moment. That's just a low point. It's gonna go back up, bro. Just relax. Like you gotta work your way through it. Like you said, the guy that didn't have anything, he works at the pizza shop. Why? I need income now. I know I'm not gonna stay at the pizza shop, but if I have to deliver this pizza, I'll deliver this pizza.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And there's things even in Jay-Z's work. He'll say, "Place me anywhere on God's green earth.
A triple my word.
A triple my word." And that's real hustler mentality. Like that's the saying when you come out of from nothing, you're gonna be like, what?
Yeah.
All right, relax. I'll make it happen because no matter what.
And that song you're talking about doubles back to what you were saying when artists moved into clothing, because he also says, he says basically, say that Hove would have sold clothing, never in my lifetime, wasn't in my right mind.
Yeah.
Talking about the expectations when he was a kid, what people would allow, and then what you all have allowed. So that's another thing I want to ask you about in the book. When you talk about, you mentioned earlier Prodigy, Pac, Biggie.
Mm-hmm.
How many people who were around roughly potentially your contemporaries,
Mm-hmm.
who were black men coming out of this urban areas, cities,
right.
had their lives cut short, and how often do you think where would they have been at if they'd just been allowed to live? Where would they be today?
Like, hypothetically, like what you're just saying is like that I'm not even the best one. Like the best hustler where I'm from. Like I know guys, there was guys around me that had a gift. They could do things. You know what I'm saying? It's just when you have, they didn't make the decision to transition. They didn't have the same idea. The music, the different thing, and we're going to do that. Those different things. They stayed doing what we were doing, and that had an end to it. Like there was no way around what was there for you. We knew that getting involved. They say the fast life, you dead in jail, right? Like these things are widely. For some reason, they think they're going to be Scarface, and they're just going to turn around when the guy's walking up behind them with the shotgun. Just that part. Just change that part right there. And I'm going to do everything else better than everybody else that was there. The reason why power works is because that's happened over and over and over and over and over. Ari, it's the stories about a guy making it to the top of the drug trade, financially getting to a point where he feels like he made it, and looking around and feeling like there's nowhere left to go but down. There's no old folks home for drug dealers outside of the federal penitentiary.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So when he asks his wife, when you look at me, what do you see? And she says, the biggest motherfucking drug dealer. And he goes, perfect girl for the journey. Wrong girl. Now, because it's limited and I won't ever be, he don't want to finish the run. He don't want to continue to do what he's been doing. He want to do something different and get away from just going to the federal penitentiary when they do finally show up. You know, and that has happened over and over. They'll invest in laundromats, the barbershop, the beauty salon. First of all, they'll be making so much money already that they can't spend it without any type of legal situations that they can use to say this person put it in your name.
Yeah, it brings you back to Ozark.
That's it.
You
It's
got a lot of
all
money
in.
to watch. Yeah.
All those things are but in the urban communities, in the inner cities all around the United States, they've seen those stories over and over. This is where they identify what's happening and actually show, because they go, nah, yeah, that's like this guy, like if it's not someone close to them that they know, then it's someone with some distance, but they know that
Yeah.
this is real. You know?
So that goes to like one of the last things I want to ask you, and I'll let you get out of here. And at the end, we'll remind everyone 50's dropping some new music tonight. So
Yeah.
we'll hit that again in a couple minutes before we go. But what I started wondering here is there is a tension in the book where on the one hand you tell us you got to master your perception. You got to be very conscious that everywhere you move, what do you wear on the job interview in the first day of the job?
Right.
How are you presenting yourself? And yes, you might be working hard and working your way up, but how do you show you're ready for that next job? All that presentation, and you're very obviously sophisticated about that. Then you are very blunt and admit that a bunch of the perception that you put out in the 50 Cent artist universe is not the reality of Curtis Jackson, the person.
Right, because
so the question becomes then, especially for all the folks in here watching you, your fans and followers and people interested in what you do, it goes, okay, so do you have any concern with people reading this book where you're giving them the secrets and they go, wait a minute, some of it's not real?
No, because I don't need it for where I'm going next.
Also, shout out to Swizz Beats in here, Zone.
Right. See, if I was doing this, look, in the beginning of my career, I wrote what I knew they would think. So you saying, okay, our culture, hip hop culture, loves things that are damaged. If you can creatively put together music that we actually appreciate, that they'll enjoy, it says that there's a talent there, and it feels even more special that you have the ability to do that if you're damaged. So they'll look and they'll say, okay, he's a kid, he's from Southside Jamaica, Queens. His mom's got killed when he was 8. He started hustling when he was 12. He lived this lifestyle all the way up until now, music, street life, involved hustling, selling crack. They would put it in the book. everything like that. And you look and you say, fun facts, been shot 9 times. And he comes back and he says, you know, it happens. And they go, the sophisticated part of the presentation, when I just said it happens, without this look in my face, like, you know, that look that you used to see every time it was a cover of an album and it was Ice Cube?
Yeah.
His face was like this on every album cover, and it was all hit records. Like he was doing very, very well, and he still was like this. It almost became the face that you make when it's time to take a picture, but you don't feel like that because you're successful at that point.
Yeah.
Right? And what I'm saying to you is that's a part of presentation that he held on to that energy, and he used it for his materials. It's who he. It becomes a part of the perception of him, not who he actually is. Because in the beginning, he might have felt like that and been that. What I said I'm high all the time on the first album. Everybody else was high. All right. Everybody else was high. They was smoking, doing kind of shit, drinking. Look, when I say then I didn't do nothing at that point when I was saying I'm high all the time.
Right. You're making a song that people can get down to in that way, but you're not doing that.
Right. And I'm looking going, but I know what's going on at the same time. So I'm like, yo, I put the record there for the person that get high. At that point, you would sell 500,000 copies if you were great. If you aimed it at college students getting high, where there's more people trying it for that, just I smoked in college. You know, I didn't inhale political shit. Right? Look, that guy, Afro Man, would do 700 to 800,000 pieces. The other guys would do 500,000 pieces when they did their version of the weed smoking records. Right? So it said that there was an audience there, and that if you did one, you would be tapping that audience something that they need, that they want to hear. Now, if you looked at the behaviors and the messaging all the time, you would look and say, he probably is high as a motherfucker. Like he just got shot 9 times and came back and said, you know what, it happens. But when you don't screw your face up, it's even scarier when a person looks at you and doesn't know that it's like a child rebel pointing a gun at you in Africa. He doesn't know. They told him you shoot you, you shoot you. He doesn't know. He might have some emotions and feelings afterwards, later, but he's going to shoot you. So you should feel fear is an option, but danger is real. If they just put it in his hand and told him, leave it up to him, you know, that's a kid, so you should be afraid.
Right.
You know, and look, in concept, when you say, as far as the drinking, like because I got a cognac beverage, I got a champagne company, and I said, yo, I drink this much. If I drink this much, I'll be drunk as a motherfucker off of this much liquor. Then you go, yo, what happened? My body has a low tolerance because I hadn't.
You're a lightweight because you don't drink, yeah.
A complete lightweight. So now look, I'll drink. I have that. I'm lit. I go, yo, take that bottle. Tell them to bring it back. They fill the bottle up for me. I have ginger ale sometimes in the bottle. It makes everybody else continue to have fun. If they see me stop, when they see me not continue to have a good time with them, sometimes it just blows all the fun. Everybody's like, now they're not having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want to do that. So I let them do that for that purpose, for them to continue to enjoy themselves, because you want to just ruin the whole party for everybody.
Right. So 50, before I let you go, I'm going to tell everyone, this is Ari Melber from MSNBC. You could catch 50 this Friday. We're going to do a TV interview, talk about the book and a lot more. Tell me about the music you're dropping tonight, sir.
I'm going to put out, I'm going to send it to you and let you put it on your Instagram first.
You got it. I'll do it.
It's called I Hate Being Sober. It was Chief Keef. This was supposed to be his big record right here, and he was rough around the edges. He's coming out of Chicago, so he had that Chi-Town thing going on. Where he didn't even show up to his old video.
Yeah.
So me and Wiz Khalifa is in the video, and there's no Chief Keef.
I'm excited. I didn't even know we were going to get into that. So I'm going to say to everyone, thank you for tuning in. Check out, obviously, at 50 Cent, at Ari Melber. We'll put that out, and we'll have you on the show on Friday. And that was really fun. If everybody's still in.